What is something you will not buy the cheap version of? Safety gear. An office chair is a great investment for the long run. Saves your back. Bras. It's hard enough getting one that fits properly. If it fits nicely, I don't care about the price. Tattoos. A winter coat and winter boots, they are so worth the investment. You could get 4 or 5, or more, good winters out of this investment. I used to buy cheap, especially the coats, as a good one can be costly, but a really warm, waterproof coat for winter makes the commute that little bit easier and life that little bit cozier. Sturdy, waterproof boots are also a great investment. No more cold toes and wet socks, and the expensive ones really do last well. I'm due a new coat for this winter and I've already started to put a little bit aside each paycheck for it. A bed. If you have only bought shitty cheap beds your entire adult life, save your money for a while and buy an awesome bed. That purchase can change your life. For real. PSU for a computer, get one from a reputable brand, not the $15 from some random brand no one has heard of. If you cheap out on a power supply, you're asking for it to fail and take other components with it. Shoes. Mostly running shoes, but all shoes really. Kitchen cookware. Toilet paper. I won't buy the cheapest electronics. Mid-range or higher is what I look for. Pillow. $150 but feels like a poofy cloud. Have had it for 2 years now, so less than $0.25 a day and going down. Edit, I searched my old emails and found it for you guys. Hope it can help some of you out. It says side sleeper, but I sleep on my back and sides, love it. Good sheets help too. I have Egyptian cotton 600 thread count. Down fill, gusseted sides, and a decent fill weight are a recipe for success. If it gets a little low, just punch in the sides and back to fluve. LASIK eye surgery. Friend I worked with kept telling me I could get it for $500 in Colombia. Did it here in Georgia for $3,000 with a doctor who had done over 100,000 procedures. I'll stick with having perfect vision. Work boots. On your feet most the day, out in construction or sketchy areas for your feet. A great pair of work boots makes all the difference in the world. Electronics. With cheap electronics you realize why they were so cheap so quickly. Cheap headphones for example. Buy a mid-range or high-end product and you'll have it years. Buy something cheap and you'll be replacing it every few months, or it's so bad you hate using it. Socks. No more cheap socks for me. From now on I only buy socks made from 100% merino wool. Typically darn tough socks since they have a lifetime warranty. Running shoes. Q-tips. Suffered for 2 years because a 500 count was $2 cheaper and I was too stubborn/cheap to throw them out. Camping tents. I've been Chinese water tortured on a rainy night in a cheap tent one too many times to ever skimp again. Parmesan cheese. Sushi. Edit. Feeling guilty that some kind soul gave me a helpful award for this one-word reply, so here's some unsolicited advice. Smiley face. Grocery store sushi is usually a hard pass, but there are a few exceptions. Where I live, US East Coast, both Balducci's and Wegmans have very high-quality sushi. Balducci's in particular rivals many respectable sushi restaurants I've been to. Both also offer sashimi and low-carb options. Usually they'll make rolls using a very thin sheet of sliced cucumber in place of the rice. Whole Foods, at least the 3 I've tried, is surprisingly disappointing. While the quality is fine, the portions are small, and the fish-to-rice ratio is way too low. Tampons. OB or nothing chocolate. I love no-name brand stuff, but I always get name brand crap dinner. A mattress. Always spend high on a mattress, your back will thank you later. Condoms. Butter. Once I tried the fancy gold wrapper butter, I can't go back to normal pleb butter. It's just not worth the wax paper that it's wrapped with. The flavor of the gold wrapper butter is so rich and creamy that you don't have to use as much either. Trousers. I move around a lot in my trousers. The cheap ones make me think about it twice though. I really don't like when I have holes in my nether region. Dish soap. Nothing suds as well or gets my dishes as clean as Dawn. Tin/aluminum foil. Reynolds heavy duty, except no substitutes. Most meats, particularly beef steak and fish. Steak because the quality and texture change too much if you go for thinly sliced roasts that pretend to be traditional steaks. Seafood because when my local supermarket has a super cheap, 1/2 price sale on salmon fillets, it's likely they are about to spoil. Most of the time they are bad before I even get it home. Car parts like tires and brakes, these are literally the most important part of your car if you are a daily driver. They stop your car and keep you on the road. Yes, they are expensive, but it's worth your life. Edit, some grammar fixes. Musical instruments and their accessories. My wife insists on buying batteries at the dollar store. They don't fucking work. I've rationally explained to her multiple times that they aren't worth buying because they just don't have enough juice to power anything but the remote control, but she absolutely refuses to spend the money on Duracell or Energizer and keeps bringing home 8 AAS for $1 that all end up in the garbage. Food. Grew up on frozen and canned foods. I'm privileged enough now that all my food is fresh, and it's incredibly expensive. Tools and safety gear. Steaks, coffee, whiskey, produce, most food really. Toilet paper. I will thrift first for just about everything I need but will splurge on good quality toilet paper. Coffee and alcohol, liquor, wine, beer. Life is too short and I am not that broke, so why drink crappy versions of these? Tires. You will be dealing with random, uneven baldness or they'll flat out just go flat randomly or start leaking air from a slight bump. The minute I got quality tires was a breath of fresh air. Also, you should not skimp on anything related to your car unless you don't have a choice due to financial reasons. That thing is responsible for your life most of the time. My dad had 2 other things that you should never go cheap on in addition to tires, and those were a mattress and shoes. Mattress is because you spend most of your life sleeping and being on a bad mattress is going to make you feel the consequences for years. A good night's sleep sets the pace for your entire day. Shoes because you're walking in them most of the time, so take care of your feet for the same reason to get a quality mattress to take care of your back/spine. Pens and pencils. Always buy Ticonderoga No. 2. Tools for sure, it's where brands really do make a difference if you know what to buy. Regular tools are a mix of Stanley Fatmax and Facom, power tools are a mix of Makita, DeWalt, and Festool. Lego. Sure, knockoff brands may be cheaper as Lego is extremely costly, but it has to be the real thing or I immediately hate it. Cigars. Bad cigars are awful, good ones are an occasional delight, and the correlation between cost and quality is pretty darn linear. Perfume. Eggs. I buy from a local farm and the difference in taste is huge. Saxophones, acoustic guitars, really any acoustic instrument. The level of precision engineering required to make something that sounds good, feels good, and has stable intonation is not something I'll go on Amazon and get a Chinese off-brand for. I've been testing and shopping for soprano saxophones for 2 months. Electric guitars on the other hand. Sticks for playing the drums. I had pretty cheap ones a little while ago. The tip broke off and flew directly into my eye. Nothing else to say, it hurt pretty damn bad. Cheese or toilet paper. Camera equipment like tripod, filters and such. I bought a cheap tripod once. Only when I bought a new one I realized the difference. Condoms. If it goes wrong, it will get really expensive. Definitely a bra. The first thing that came to my mind are the $4 USB chargers from Chinese stores. I heard that they are dangerous and can generate electromagnetic noise that interferes with radios. Some USB chargers can overheat the battery inside a device. Apparently cheap chargers/USB adapters have no isolation between the AC and DC voltage side via a transformer. Some use half-wave rectifiers instead of full-bridge rectifiers. I saw an article saying that one Chinese woman was accidentally exposed to 300 some volts in an accident. I think the charging wire got hot and melted because the charger didn't regulate or shut off. No safety features in cheap chargers. Some USB chargers have fake UL and safety certification markings. Boots. Cheap boots can really badly damage your feet, ankles, and knees. I get army spec boots and they cost a couple £100. Cheap boots can cost as little as PS20. Not going to risk foot damage, damaged ankles, and damaged knees just to save a few quid. Razors to shave my face. If you buy the cheap ones, you won't have a smooth face, no stubble and clear skin. You'll have a hacked up bloody mess with a leftover rash worse than those poor bastards with eczema. Origami paper because the cheap version isn't square. I will never buy the cheap version of a brain surgeon. Table saw. I had several cheap table saws, all of them fucking terrifying. The final one was a cheap grizzly that had /no safety equipment at all, and spit a piece of wood back at me. Kickback is fucking terrifying. So I bought a saw stop cabinet saw. Never been happier or enjoyed woodworking more. Paper towels. Shoes, mattresses, or vehicle tires. The three things that go between me and the earth. A helmet. Cookware. It gets ruined so fast that you'd have to replace it often and your food won't taste as good. Birkenstock. Pop-Tarts. Cat litter. The extra money for name brand is worth it. Sandwich meat. The cheap stuff tastes like solid, textured water. The good stuff is more, but totally worth it when it's the only thing breaking up the workday is a good sandwich. Also since COVID I used to buy lunch every day. Was $10 a day with chips and a drink. Now it's $30/week for all ingredients/chips and I make it myself so just as good and cheaper in comparison to pre-COVID. Ketchup. Good ketchup is thick and delicious and doesn't need white sugar or corn syrup in the recipe. Bad ketchup is best left off of fries. Use malt vinegar and salt instead. Cheaper and tastier than bad ketchup. Shoes. Don't buy cheap version of shoes, just don't. Robotic sex doll. Ketchup. Ketchup. Heinz or nothing. Worcestershire sauce. Lee and Perrins all the way. A house. I'm not wasting 10 years of my life to fix that shit, and worrying about every aspect of it being a fire trap, prone to water damage and whatnot. I'd rather go more in debt and sleep at night without water dripping in my forehead. Shoes and tools. Cheap version of a tattoo artist. Pay the price or pay the price. Pizza. More specifically, pizza margherita. We have a store chain here in Germany called Rewe. They have their own product chain called JA, of which I love their pizza margherita. We used to have a Rewe just down the road, yet it got closed and now there's another big chain store. But their pizza is shit. I miss the better days. Tools and power tools. Invest in good quality tools. They will last and get the job done. Paper towels, toilet paper, trash bags. Running shoes. Edit. You can't imagine how harmful to your back and legs it is if you just go for low quality cheap shoes. Band-Aids. The off-brand ones I bought just don't stick like the name brand ones do, in my experience. Cat food. The supermarket brands and cheaper kinds are full of ash and filler. One of my cats can't eat that food anyway as his mouth is sensitive. So I buy the more expensive kind online that is mostly, if not all, just meat or fish. A bed. I wish I had spent a couple hundred more on a good mattress. I would have more money then because I wouldn't have had to spend thousands on multiple chiropractic visits. Thank you for watching the video. Welcome to Reddit Wisdom. Here you will learn the wisdom of the crowd, the wisdom of Reddit. Please consider subscribing for more Reddit wisdom.